The journey to this cursed celestial body had been fraught with intellectual skirmishes, a constant battle between the rigid dictates of established science and the insidious whispers of forbidden knowledge. The very notion of the expedition had germinated from a series of late-night, increasingly desperate conferences held in the most secluded wings of Miskatonic University, fueled by strong black coffee and the shared, terrifying conviction that something was profoundly, cosmically amiss. The initial proposal, penned by Armitage himself, had been met with a mixture of polite incredulity and outright derision by the more conservative elements of the faculty, not just from Miskatonic, but from rival institutions. To the far side of the moon, Professor Armitage? Dr. Albright, a renowned astrophysicist from Yale, his face a mask of smug skepticism, had scoffed during one particularly heated inter-university conference in Boston. Based on what, precisely? The ramblings of a long-dead Arab mystic? The Necronomicon is a work of fiction, a macabre curio for occultists, not a scientific text for reputable institutions. Armitage, his voice tight with controlled passion, had leaned forward, his hands clasped tightly on the polished conference table, knuckles white. Dr. Albright, if you had taken the time to actually read and decipher the texts, rather than dismiss them outright as mere fantasy, you would understand. Ibn Ghazi, the so-called mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, for all his unsavory reputation, for all the madness that consumed him, possessed an uncanny, terrible insight into matters beyond human ken. His writings speak of cold, dead cities on a dead world beyond the veil of night, illuminated by stars not seen from earthly shores, constellations utterly alien to our terrestrial skies. He detailed the great angular structures that pierce the black vacuum, structures that cause the mind to recoil from their non-Euclidean blasphemy. Coupled with the astronomical anomalies we've been tracking for decades, subtle yet persistent gravitational perturbations, inexplicable bursts of energy emanating from the lunar dark side, dismissed by others as instrumentation errors, and the sheer consistent detail across various fragmented texts, it paints a picture. A terrifying, yes, but remarkably consistent picture that demands investigation, not dismissal. Dr. Eleanor Vance, a formidable linguist and paleographer, whose initial participation in Armitage's clandestine research into ancient, abhorrent languages had been reluctantly scientific, now supported him with a visible tremor in her voice, a new, unsettling certainty in her eyes. The linguistic parallels, gentlemen, between the glyphs described in the Necronomicon as adorning the Antarctic city of the Elder Things by Professor Dyer's ill-fated expedition, and certain recurring patterns we have observed in the spectral analysis of light reflecting from the lunar far-side anomaly are undeniable. We have observed strange, shifting light patterns, almost a non-repeating geometric flicker from the very region described by Al-Hazred. The very phrase, Punglui Maglunaf Cthulhu Relay Wagnal Fatong, is not merely a gibberish incantation. It is a description of a geometry that defies our understanding, a reality that folds in upon itself. We have observed similar folding patterns in the light spectrum reflecting from the lunar anomaly, patterns that, when translated through certain ciphers, seem to describe physical structures. Professor Rice, the Albatross's perpetually anxious radio operator and junior astrophysicist, then a young, eager graduate student, had provided the crucial mathematical backing, his voice filled with a mixture of academic certainty and growing personal dread. The calculations for these gravitational anomalies, while subtle, are statistically significant beyond any reasonable margin of error. They suggest a massive, non-uniform distribution of mass beneath the lunar surface, directly contradictory to our current models of lunar formation. It's unlike any natural lunar formation. And the energy signatures, they are faint, almost beyond the threshold of detection for standard equipment, but they are there. Sporadic, powerful bursts of unknown origin, precisely where the mad Arab indicated his cold, dead cities would be. We've managed to triangulate some of these bursts, and they emanate from distinct, deep-seated points within the anomaly. It's as if something massive and impossibly old is buried there, shifting, humming with a slow, dreadful energy. The arguments had raged for months, both within the confines of Miskatonic and in the wider, more public academic spheres. The very idea of an expedition to the far side of the moon in the 1930s, using a ship cobbled together from scavenged parts and untested theories, was considered sheer lunacy by most. But Armitage, with the quiet but unwavering support of a handful of equally unorthodox benefactors, scholars of ancient lore, industrialists with a taste for the peculiar, and even a reclusive former senator whose family history was rife with tales of ancestral encounters with the inexplicable, had slowly but surely amassed the necessary resources. The Albatross was the culmination of these whispered conversations, these late-night calculations, and the illicit appropriations of university funds and equipment, and the terrifyingly efficient network of scholarly contacts who shared his esoteric interests. Its very existence was a defiance of sanity, a testament to the irresistible pull of the unknown. Now, hanging above the nightmare city, all theoretical arguments, all academic disputes dissolved into a visceral, undeniable, and horrifyingly palpable reality.